Good evening from Area 51 Raceway. Tonight we're going to talk about paints and on our next project, painting project that we'll be doing. Please come join us. Good evening from Area 51 Raceway. So I wanted to cover paints tonight. As you can see, I have my growing collection of Createx paints. Gets pretty addicting when you start doing kind of like opening up into different things. As you know, with slot cars in general, you start doing more and more as you learn more and more. So for example, here I'm still waiting for guides for this purple Pontiac. As you can see, I have no guides. If I had some guides, I'd do a video on this car running on the track because somebody has requested that, and I'm sorry. But for example here, this is the first car I've done in a candy colored paint. So the purple Pontiac, basically it was a video that was on Createx website on how to mix this paint. Now the Createx, not the website, but the Createx YouTube page. The Createx YouTube page has a lot of good information on there on how to understand how to mix paints and stuff. This paint is really, to me, really easy to use and mix and to apply. I haven't really had a big problem with it. For part of me being still a rookie at things that I've made mistakes on, but as I learn how to use this paint more, it is really, really fantastic paint. I really like it. I tried some other stuff I wasn't crazy about, but for airbrushing, this stuff really does really well. And they have such a variety of colors and things you can do with it. So for example, the purple Pontiac, how I mixed that paint was that I used a candy and a pearlized here, like this color pearlized right here, this purple pearlized paint. And then the candy made it that darker color. Now, every time you spray one of their paints, they do recommend using a base. And the base is what also enhances the color. For example, for the purple Pontiac, I had to use a burgundy base. And this is the Burgundy Autoborn Sealer 6012. And this stuff right here is what you apply on first. And you always want to apply the Autoborn, Autoborn paint sealers first as a base before you start actually applying paint to a substrate surface, as they call this, a substrate. I've done it on urethane, and I've done it, urethane. I've done it on resin, and I've done it on hard plastic. With resin, I'm gonna experiment more with this Buick here that I got, which is really cool. Thank you, Harry, by the way. He sent me this, and I appreciate him doing that. And this is what they look like when they come. And you have to break this up and sand it down. This Camaro, I'm gonna be doing more like an opaque color, like regular colors instead of anything like candy like that. But on this Buick, I'm trying to really figure out what to really do. I got something that I'm thinking of doing that I don't want to say just yet. But going back to this, you do want to use the color that you're going to paint it with. So in this particular, for the purple one, they recommend the burgundy red as a base. And then you mix your candied purple, deep purple, with your pearl, and mix that up. And then that's how you apply this on here. And after it's applied and everything, you put your decals on and your other little things that you need to do, even the bumpers. And then I spray this clear, and this is the end result that I get right here, what it looks like. And it came out pretty good. Now what I'm gonna try and do is an anodized color, and I have more paints on the way because I didn't have what I needed. Doing an anodized color is really going to be something pretty cool to try out. This is what I'm going to do with this particular car is I have a gloss black on the way. That's a gloss black, not just a black, a gloss black. And that's the most important part when you're making an anodized color, because you're making it like a chromish color. And then there's another paint that's coming. I can't remember the number because I just ordered it. And you're going to paint this lightly to give it like that chrome effect a little. And then what you do is you spray a candy over it, and that gives you like the anodized color. Now, I have not done that yet on any of these cars that I've built. I'm going to give it a shot, and I'm going to do a video on this on how to do an anodized one. And the base I'll probably use is black. You could use black. You could use white if you want to enhance the chrome more. It depends, but I'm going to go with the black probably, and use that first. And then I will decide if I'm going to do two-tone paint too, because I do want to kind of do a two-tone paint where I run a stripe down here. I have to start getting into that more. And after I do the base, what I'm going to do is what I ordered specifically for this car is the let me find it, is the candy black. So this is a candy black, and then they have another color here, and this is called the tequila yellow. So there's different ideas. I have what I want to do. I don't know yet. I'm trying to figure out what I want this car to look like. But again, I'll be doing an anodized look for this car. I want to see what it looks like anodized, and just try it out. But one thing that I want to point out about these paints is that a lot of people, I'd say a lot of people, but a lot of people are wondering why everything's made overseas and all that. One thing about this company right here, everything's made in USA. As you can see right there, it says made in USA. So this is a good product made in the United States. It's manufactured here. That's kind of cool. It's kind of hard to get things made in the USA. It's just one of those things that it's cheaper to manufacture overseas because you pay people less. So I mean, the bottles of paint vary from price from from was it $6.99 to $11.99 to, it just depends what paint you're getting, because they do have different lines. They have the Wicked line, which is their Wicked colors, and then they have the opaque colors, which are the regular ones, and then they have their Candy 2.0 system, and then they have their Pearlized stuff, and they have different other series of paints. But as far as from using this paint, which I've used a few times, and I really like how this came out. This car is, I don't know, it's pretty cool. It came out real good. I know the next one I'll do better. There's a few things I need to do when I did my chrome striping and stuff for the, the window sills and all that I need to do better. And as you go along and start painting and doing more and more, you start becoming more honing your skill on what to do. And all this stuff, everyone, is not hard to do. This stuff here, this paint and doing this painting, I was really intimidated when I first got into painting this stuff. I even asked a friend, hey, can you paint this for me? That's how green I was with this. But now that I've started to branch out more and stop being a whip about it, stop whining and
stop whining.
Just get to it and do it. What's the harm? If you screw up, you screw up. You learn from your screw ups. And trust me, I screwed up a lot with airbrush painting in the beginning. I had some real cheap airbrushes, and that was so frustrating because it wouldn't do it right. It wouldn't come out right, and it'd splatter. And it was like my problem was that you get what you pay for. I had real cheap airbrushes, and those airbrushes were not very good, and I just tossed them out because I got tired of it. And I started reading more about what airbrush to get, like the Procon Boy from Spray Gunner that I got. There's another one I'm looking into that's a little bit more expensive that I'll probably get later on, that I'll do a little video review on. That's pretty cool looking. I usually there's a YouTube channel I'll call Barbatos Rex. If you guys want to look at his channel, he reviews all kinds of paints, and he's good with all the paints, what he does, and he explains how to mix them and all that stuff. But preferably I prefer the Createx. Maybe later on I'll find something different if I branch out. But so far, Createx paints to me has been, for slot car building, has been really what I like so far. As far as you see the gold Ford that I did, modified, that car was a lot of fun to paint. It wasn't very hard. And the now this purple Pontiac is really something simplified. Also, it wasn't too tough to do, and hopefully we'll see how the anodized one comes out. But this Buick's real cool. It's going to be a 132nd build. I'm gonna again build a chassis for this and do some stuff on this one, and it should be pretty cool when it's done. But I just wanted to cover this this part about paints and upcoming projects coming up to the channel. Again, spraygunner.com is a website that carries all this paints. They carry all kinds of airbrushes and stuff like that if you want to look into, supplies. Another thing also I do want to cover, so if you do, I don't know if you guys do Amazon, but I do. So on Amazon, they have these little glass jars. Just wanted to point that out. And what's nice about these is that you can mix your paint in your little cup and then pour it in here and filter it. Or you could, either way, or measure it in here. I do it in here when I do my paints. And then I use this little mixer that's from Amazon, and I just mix it up in here. And you could still use the stir method if you want to stir your stick, but I use this and let it do it for a minute or two. And then it's kind of nice to be able to cap this off and, let it sit. And then you get your mesh filter, of course, which I talked about. You always want to filter your paints before you put it into the airbrush because, you get garbage in there. And if it lodges in the needle, then you're really going to have a hard time and you're going to get frustrated. And clean paint is happy paint. So you want to make sure the paint is clean going into the gun and you're filtering out debris. That's why I always filter the stuff, because I've ran into it where I just poured it in there and then the thing don't work. It gets jammed up and then I'm like cursing at myself because it's like I should have put it through a filter. But this stuff's available on Amazon, little glass jars. They do have measuring graduate stuff for like actual cups of measuring 2-to-1 and all that. But this stuff right here, it's not really hard to mix. There is a the website has what they recommend when you're painting stuff. It's a PDF file. Download it, read it, and on the bottles it tells you what percentages should be added to things. The go-to reducer is always 40-11, and that's the stuff that reduces the paint. And then the gloss is a good one, the 40-50, and then there's also the 40-30, which is fine. Which I'll mix the 40-30 with the Autoborn sealer. That's what I usually do. And then I use the 40-50 gloss to mix my color that I'm going to choose. And the finishing touch really is hitting it with lacquer, which is fine. When you apply lacquer to decals, one thing you have to remember, see how that looks pretty good. You want to be able to make sure you are doing it really lightly, because lacquer gets hot and it starts burning your decals, and then they start, crinkling. And I've done that before. And with this car, I learned, I was able to do it real nicely because I did it in really light coats. I didn't go overboard with it because you don't want to, go crazy, and then the stuff starts crinkling up on you, and then you're like, oh my God, and then you'll see it, there's bubbles and stuff. So you always want to do clear lightly. And the clear I used for this again was the 2X paint, which is from Rust-Oleum. But you can use any clear of your choice if you want. You can even use clear out of an airbrush if you do it. That's up to you. I prefer the rattle can because this lacquer really, it's stinky paint. I do like stinky paint, but it takes more to clean up. And since I'm kind of dedicating myself more to the water-based paint, I kind of want to stay away from, painting lacquer stuff. I would have to get a whole nother brush if I want to do that, airbrush if I wanted to do that, to be honest. But in the end result, this paint's really good paint. I highly recommend it. It's not very hard to use. It's made in the United States. That's pretty cool. I think they're out of, I want to say Connecticut or something like that. New Hampshire, I can't remember. But the person who does the YouTube videos is named Chris Arpin. He's a real, really clear on his instructions when you're painting stuff. And of course, when you're doing a downsized version of cars, you're not doing actual automobiles. This is a little bit easier to deal with when you have a smaller area you're painting. It's not like a car. You got to do a lot more, more material. So if you do build up your stock, and there's just so much, they have a lot of videos where you can mix certain candies with certain colors and get a really good, how would you say, appearance of the car, just like I did with this purple one, with that one video. And this is the deep purple color, and with pearl and stuff. So there's a lot of possibilities. So, but anyways, that's it from Area 51 Raceway, just covering paint. If you have any questions with paint, you can email me or message me on the Area 51 Raceway Facebook page. Love to help you. Always love to help people out in the slot car, scratch built or, whatever. Whatever comes up, anything, I'll try and answer the best I can. I'm not an expert, but I do what I can, and I learn as I go. And this particular card here, this Camaro, I'm going to do something of a USA thing since the 4th of July is coming up. But again, that's it from Area 51 Fun Raceway. Look, can't even talk there. You guys, as always, have fun and take care and have fun racing.